Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Derek Smith from the Intercessors Investigative and Training Group and from Get CISSP Certified. Oftentimes people come to me and they talk to me about how to get into the cybersecurity field. And they come from all different backgrounds. By the way, I'm a professor at the University of Maryland and another university. And therefore folks come to me from all kinds of backgrounds. I have nurses, I have people in the security field, all different kind of fields, and they all want to know how they should get into this field and what they should know. Now, I've been in this field since 2008, even though I've been in the security field for 40 years. In 2008, I decided to get into the cybersecurity field, and it's been a learn as you go kind of thing. I've gone on to get 2 master's degrees in the field, and 1 in digital forensics, 1 in cybersecurity. I've taken a lot of classes, I've gotten a lot of certifications, and I had some trial and error. So I want to talk about that today in giving you the top 5 skills I think you need to be successful in a cybersecurity career. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First, whether you're managing a small network or you're managing a large network, you're going to have to understand networking in general. How on earth are you going to be able to secure computer networks if you don't understand basic networking? So you need to understand all you can about how to set up, maintain, and secure that network. In that area, some things I think you need to understand are learning networking first of all, and what it is and what it's all about, what subnetworks. You need to know some networking basics. Now, you don't have to be a network guru, of course, if you're not going to be a network administrator or anything like that. But in cybersecurity, you need to at least understand the networking basics. You need to understand what network protocols are, because when you're dealing with cybersecurity, those type of things are going to come up. It's going to come up in the language. You're going to be securing protocols, so of course you need to understand those. You need to know how to plan a network, or at least how network administrators and architects plan networks, because as part of that planning process, you might be asked to plan the security of that network. You need to understand how they implement a network, because again, in that implementation phase, you probably will be involved. When it comes to security, you should be involved at the beginning of setting up a network, not just come in later on and ask, now I've built it, how do I secure it? You need to know about virtualization. Almost everyone is using virtualization today, so maybe understand how virtualization is implemented. You need to understand Windows servers and Linux servers, because those are the 2 main ones that you're going to come across in your career. And of course, you need to understand how they manage a network. Now, again, if you're not managing networks, you don't have to have a deep understanding of this, but you need to understand how a network is managed. For skill number 2, based on my experience, I think you need to understand IT architecture. So enterprise network is a complex creature, of course, and you need to understand how to break that down into simpler bites. You need to understand the parts. You need to understand what that means to your company or the company you're working for. You need to understand how to make technology match your business goals or match your client's business goals, and then how to create that enterprise culture. Part of architecture is also dealing with long-range planning, managing security for that network, and getting the most from the technology that you happen to have before you. As part of technology, you need to understand enterprise components, the management roles that's involved, and the impact of platform selection in order for you to know the game and the players in the network. Then you have to understand what the IT can do. You need to learn how to align that technology with organizational goals and explore regulatory compliance and risk management practices as they refer to your particular organization. You need to understand who the people are, which means you need to understand the fundamental aspects of identity management and how to develop an enterprise culture around that. You need to understand the nuts and bolts of architecture, looking at the elements of a distributed network, the resources, and how to establish long-term operational strategies around that. Another thing you need to understand is how to increase technology's value. That means through virtualization, through high-performance computing, through green IT strategies and other practices. And you need to know how to keep your guard up, which means create effective disaster recovery solutions and develop a sound game plan against the ever-changing threats of interconnected systems. So In essence, you need to understand tasks, roles, and tools of the IT architecture, risk and compliance issues, tips for reducing complexity of your architecture, again, identity and access management strategies, effective communication methods within your network, how to deal with your mobile and remote enterprise, and what to consider when planning technology updates for your organization or your client's organization. In my opinion, another important skill is for you to understand penetration testing, or let's just say vulnerability assessments in general. So penetration testing allows you to target, test, and patch vulnerabilities hackers use to compromise your organization's data. It uses hacking skills against the hackers, I would say, equipping you with a hacker's eye view of the weaknesses they seek to exploit. You need to understand techniques that allow you to gather intelligence on a target, build the appropriate test, and then use best practices to analyze, report on, and solve vulnerability issues within your or your client's organization. Some of the things you want to understand are how to plan and test the structures, how to set test objectives for your penetration testing or vulnerability assessment, how to scan targets, how you're going to combat malware, how you're going to secure mobile devices, which there's plenty of them out there, especially with the pandemic right now. And you need to understand physical attacks, how you get physically attacked and how to deal with those. Now, I would be remiss if I don't say that you have to understand cloud security, because everybody is moving to cloud security right now. You need to understand how to plan your organization's cloud computing strategy. Are you ready to execute a cloud computing plan? You need a strategy to prepare for the future, and this is where this comes into place. The future is cloud computing. You need to understand topics like multi-cloud architecture, microservices, hybrid infrastructure, DevOps. DevOps is a really big thing right now, and software as a service, which is also becoming a big thing right now. So your goal is to understand the emerging approaches to cloud computing. Some of the things you want to understand are understanding cloud architecture, not just architecture in general, like I spoke about before, how to use a hybrid computing approach, understanding the economics of cloud computing, how to plan your organization's cloud strategy, how to develop a security strategy for the cloud, and understanding containers and microservers, which is something you deal with the cloud. Finally, of course, you need to understand cybersecurity. So do you know the common cyber threats? Do you know how to defend against them? Do you know what to do if your personal or business information is compromised? And understanding cybersecurity will give you that information and much more. You have to understand the types of threats and how they work, and then you have to understand how to locate and shore up the vulnerabilities that you might have found with your vulnerability or penetration test that I spoke about before. You need to understand steps for recovering from a breach if one happens, and understand business security. So some of the topics you need to understand are defining cybersecurity, what kind of tools are available for you to help you with cybersecurity, how to avoid being a target in your organization, how to protect your organization's personal stuff, I'll call it, what are some threats, how to handle breaches, and finally, tips for planning and being proactive. Now, there's so much more to understand in each one of these areas, but I want to give you an idea again of the top 5 skills I think you need to be successful in this career, and the areas that have made me successful in this career. One last thing is certifications. I want to throw that in. There are many certifications, and let me talk about this. I wasted a lot of time getting certifications I did not need. You want to plan out your career to know what path you want to take. If you want to go into penetration testing and vulnerability scanning, you need to get skills and certifications around that area. Licensed penetration tester, certified ethical hacker. If you want to go down the law enforcement path, you might want to get into forensics and learn and get certifications around gathering forensic evidence. If you want to be on the compliance side, you want to get things like being a risk analyst or understanding the compliance side. Again, you want to plan your career path so that you can get the right certifications for your field. One of the last things I want to leave you with is that I help people prepare for various certification exams. And one of my best is my Get CISSP Certified course. You can find that at getcissspcertified.com. Also, you can watch this video that's embedded here to find out more about my course. I have upcoming dates throughout the year. Hopefully, if you're trying to figure out whether you get into the cybersecurity field or you're already in and trying to plan your course of action, this video has been of some help to you. Stay tuned for more videos. If you like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.